I almost forgot because with this whole thing that's going on with between HBO Max and all these Warner products that, have been merged with Discovery, and there's all these, everybody's like, everything's on a chopping block right now. A lot of people feel, and of course, the people that you expect to be mad at that sort of stuff are mad because it's a transfer of power. It doesn't matter if ideologically they were the exact same, which, by the way, Zaslav, the CEO, is a Democrat. Make no mistake, he is a Democrat. And what we have here is just it's just a transfer of power. You know what I mean? And people sometimes go in, and they're like, I don't like the way that you guys were doing things. I don't like the way y'all do stuff, so we're going to do it different. And that's fine. That's fine. I think that has more to do with the transfer or why you're seeing stuff be on a chopping block, right? But the Daily Beast put this out. This is freaking hilarious. Laid off HBO Max execs reveal Warner Bros. Discovery is killing off diversity and courting middle America. Again, I have not seen enough for me to believe that that's what they actually want to focus on. I don't believe that. Until I know stuff is on the chopping block, but just because you end something does not mean that you just don't want to do your version of that same exact thing. Okay. Former HBO Max executives say the streaming service has been left with few people of color to oversee its diverse slate of programming as Warner Bros. Discovery continues its ongoing corporate reshuffling. That's what it is. The perfect way to put that. Corporate reshuffling. That's what's happening. But that's to be expected because these people that are in these positions of in these positions of power do not care about if the company makes money, right? These are the worst people to hire. These people don't care about your bottom line. They don't care if you make any money. They're like, hey, we have a social agenda, and they are salaried anyway. So we have a social agenda, and we're going to use this infrastructure that exists to put that stuff out there. So they don't care about your bottom line at all. So instead of even just mildly considering that maybe there's other reasons as to why something goes on the chopping block or why they went a different route, instead of looking at it like that, maybe it's strictly money based. They say, wow, diversity. And this is an attack on diversity. So the platform reportedly laid off close to 70 people this month. That includes entire teams overseeing unscripted kids and family and international content, according to two former HBO Max execs who asked not to be named. Why not? You out of a job now. Those three divisions responsible for buying shows from production companies and creators and working closely with them during production are now completely gone. Okay, let me try to make sense for that. Like a lot of this content and this is not just with Warner Bros., it's with so many entertainment industries. The product that they put out through them, they don't own, right? Or they didn't create. Let's say they may own it by buying the stuff, or by licensing it, or whatever it is. It's not theirs. And yes, these companies have entire teams that sit there and go act effectively. They're A&Rs of the movie and TV industry. And they go look for stuff. They pay money to get this. Hey, we're going to do a movie based on this. We're going to do a show based on this, yada, yada. And apparently they canned entire teams that oversaw this, which is interesting. Again, three divisions, and they were responsible for buying shows, and they didn't just fire people. They got rid of the damn divisions, like as in there's nobody there. One former employee says as many as 13 people of color. Who cares? Why is that important? People of color. Previous, which all that means is non-white. That's far easier to say that. previously in charge of developing shows like the Gordita Chronicles and the Spanish language docuseries Menudo, Forever Young, have been let go, likely influencing the type of shows and movies that are greenlit moving forward. That's Zaslav saying he did not. That's not just him. That's not a decision that's just simply made by him. But that's this new leadership saying that we either don't have use for that. They don't trust your ability to decide what shows make sense for them to create. Or, again, it's more of, hey, we got our guys that'll do a better version of what it is that you're doing. Among those laid off are Jen Kim, an Asian woman who served as senior vice president of the international team, and Kayla Barnes, a black woman who worked under Kim. I don't think anyone knows just how white the staff is, one former executive told the Daily Beast, that is. Former HBO Max staffers say that there are barely any non-white people left in the upper ranks of content, with one naming Joey Chavez, an executive vice president of drama, as one of the few people of color. Not one time has it been mentioned like if these guys have been tied to a profitable like property or a financially successful product. Not one time has that been mentioned. It's just these guys are not white. That's it. There's no, well, these guys did this was successful. None of that. We haven't got any of that information in this article. So we know nothing based on their qualifications, nothing based on their merit. We just know that there's some people of color that got fucking fired. That's it. Because HBO Max, an original HBO channel, operates somewhat independently, one former executive conceded that there may be one black woman on HBO side, maybe. The layoffs have amplified the lack of diversity at HBO. Another former executive told the Daily Beast, HBO is the most homogenous part of this umbrella. Instead of trying to figure out how to integrate some of Max executives into HBO, they just made this sweeping cut of 3 divisions: kids, family, international, and a lot of black and brown people lost their jobs. Again, losing your job sucks. It's not a fun experience. But sometimes you don't cut the mustard, as we say in the South. And sometimes adjustments must be made. Ever since parent company Warner Bros. Merger discovery earlier this year, employees at Warner have grappled with the changing values of the newly created company. Discovery CEO David Zaslav was charged with helping Warner crawl out of a $50 billion hole. So wait a minute. That's news to me. So $50 billion from what? That's obviously a significant amount of money. Were they like operating at a loss for? I want to know where that whole what's being attributed to that, right? Like, is that like in the last year? Is that in that last 5 years or whatever, that they are in the hole for like $50 billion? He came in like a wrecking ball, tearing up CNN's 300 million streaming service, CNN Plus. That was not going to make any money anyway, and vowing to pull Warner-owned news channel away from advocacy journalism. That sounds like a good thing. Now, I'm not banking on any journalists ever being objective anymore, but I can see that being a positive. More changes have come in the past weeks. Earlier this month, it was announced that Batgirl, the $90 million film planned for HBO Max starring an Afro-Latina actress, Leslie Grace, would be shelved completely in favor of a tax write-off. I joked about that being what it was, and apparently I was right. It wasn't a joke. Over the weekend, CNN media correspondent and host Brian Stelter, a frequent target of right-wing criticism, was fired from the network. Former Warner employees believe these changes are not just as much about business as they are about reshaping the ideological perception. Well, they were going to call it that anyway. You can't fire non-white people without there being some political bull crap being like that's the reason for that's the card that they're going to pull every time. At least in corporate America, mega corporate America, those are problems that they created upon themselves. That's what you get, idiot. And it says, it all points to the same end. They say a rejection of left-wing or highly diverse content in favor of more homogenous, middle America-friendly fare. The lack of diversity in content staff might just make their goal easier. So that's their way of saying, okay, maybe it doesn't have anything to do with like the racial bull crap, but they fired some people that weren't black, or that were black or weren't white, to more accurately putting it. And, maybe they're just doing that to make their goal easier. Like they can't actually say that's why they did it. That's intriguing to me. In a statement, the Daily Beast, HBO highlighted shows like Euphoria, Rap-ish, a Black Lady sketch show, and Los Espookies, all of which were led by diverse characters. HBO and HBO Max have always shown a commitment to diverse programming and storytellers, and always will. An internal graphic comparing audiences of Discovery Plus and HBO Max showed a stark difference between the two streamers. Where HBO Max is popular with diverse groups, single people, and drivers of hybrid cars, Discovery Plus is more popular with white married people who drive SUVs, minivans, and traveling buses. I don't even know what that is. HBO Max viewers are on TikTok, on Instagram, while Discovery Plus viewers use social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter. Says with the added caveat, if any. HBO Max viewers have no kids. Sounds like HBO Max was made for some very miserable people. No kids. Discovery Plus viewers are either empty nesters or have grandchildren. Discovery may be trying to pull HBO into its orbit and focus on what it does best. Discovery does have some like weird stuff anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see that's surprising to me either way. But that's not the difference really between Discovery and more HBO Max versus HBO, I guess. Or no, it says Discovery Plus versus HBO Max, I guess. So I don't know. But this is my thing. And I have to make this point time and time again. These people that they have catered to are not a lucrative audience. So you see during all that, they prefaced it by first saying these dudes are in a 50. Let me look that up one more time. So Warner is in a $50 billion hole. Okay. $50 billion. And now they're going on mad at the fact that, well, this article writer and they're all, well, let's say the executives are upset that all this lack of diversity and all this is on the horizon. They don't care about you making money. You know what I'm saying? Like for you, and this is a problem I think that is going to really come and bite a lot of these guys in the tail, okay, with these mega corporations, because they banked on that audience being a demographic of people that had money. They don't have capital like that for the most part. Very inconsistent, very flaky, and not as likely to go throw their money behind something or go view it, even for that matter, unless it was illegitimately, let's say that, pirated and stuff. They'll make stand accounts, though. They do all that stuff. So a bunch of executives got confused or tricked or led to believe that this was going to be a lucrative market. And it was not. They thought even if they were going to operate at even or at a loss, they were going to be ahead of the curve, right? They're getting with the times, because this is where the world is going. And what they didn't seem to realize is that, well, no, these guys ain't got money like that. Though this is why guys like me, little old me, can come through and outsell all of these chumps in their graphic novels in like the mainstream and all that stuff, because I make comic books and it appeal to comic book readers that actually have capital, not trying to check boxes or any of that stuff. And this is why I would never even hire one of any of those weirdos anyway to work for my company. But when you do let these locusts in, like so many of these people have, they were always going to look bad in the event that they said, okay, we thought it was going to go one way. It didn't go that way. So we got to start firing these guys. We got to start getting these guys up out of here. And we got to start changing stuff, because we got to we're not getting the funding that we thought we were going to get. So we got to make an adjustment. Well, you hired all these people to check these boxes, or to have it to where your company's checking boxes. And so they're going to pull that card in the event that you get rid of them. And you're going to have to deal with, oh, well, they're getting rid of me because of my racism. Oh, my God, they're canceling Batgirl. It's canceling tokenized Batgirl. Oh, it's the worst thing in the world because of racisms. But nobody, well, they don't think to ask, like, was it going to make money? Probably not. Probably not. Probably going to lose it. Probably going to lose it. Or even tarnish your brand even more, because it was going to be so bad. But sometimes it's not worth it. That's why you don't hire these dudes, man. They will run your company into the absolute ground. And all that Twitter retweeting, all of that ha-ha diversity clapping and yes, slay queen working their neck, getting the headlines. Not often. I don't want to say not often. I'll say this. Not all the time will that equal you getting paid. And a lot of big corporations are starting, to feel that. You know what I mean? And I wish they would just run themselves into the ground. Don't stop now. Why stop now? You've already committed to it. You've already committed to it. Go ahead and run yourself into the damn ground. Yo, I appreciate you as always. And if you're into comics or want to get into them, go visit Rippaverse.com, where you can check out my own comic book company, Rippaverse Publishing. Our first book, ISOM #1, is currently up for pre-order right now. You can also check out the company trailer and the ISOM campaign trailer so that you can make an informed purchase. We've cleared over $3.3 million in sales, and many of our supporters are viewers just like yourselves. And because of that, I have to thank you all personally. I do appreciate you. I can't wait for you to learn more about ISOM himself and already fan favorite Yaira. We ship internationally, so no matter what side of the globe you're on, we'd love to have you as a customer. Much love and big thanks.